Well, let's move into to Lisa's segment. Now, before we get into this, you call your segment Goodnight Bunny, and we've never addressed why. So I'd like to find out why.
Yeah. Okay. So that's an involved story. Okay. So so I work. It's weird. How am I even going to make this like tame and not seem like a psychopath? Oh my god. Well, y'all, you know I'm a I know Elliot knows I'm a psychopath. I'm a kind-hearted one. But I worked with a guy who would a radio guy. So I work in media. Well, I did work in media before my fall from grace and whatnot. But I work in media in New Orleans. And I worked with a very notorious guy who was basically, a lot of people said that, Ron Burgundy from Anchorman, they said that he was loosely based on him, and now Adam McKay has said that, he definitely influenced him. But he apparently his wife killed herself, but he killed her. And everyone that I work with, everybody knows it. And her name was Bunny. So the night that, and basically the reason that I'll tell you the whole story. So he had his own radio show. And on a particular night, he had a sex therapist on, and he had people calling in. On one of these occasions, one of the people who called in is talking about, her husband's lack of attention. He doesn't give her attention in the bedroom. And the sex therapist says, well, you need to talk to him. And she goes, well, you're looking right at him. He's the host. So that night, she killed herself. And basically, when I first moved here, I was like really shocked because everyone I work with, everybody, it wasn't a question of like, did he do it? They were like, good old Ron. Of course he did it. That's what happens in radio. Haha. And I'm like, what the hell? And I'm like the only person that like had a problem with this. So she's been, buried and gone. But like, basically, yeah. So the last thing he ever said to her was Goodnight Bunny. So that's why I call it Goodnight Bunny. Yeah, because I'm dark and twisted and a sociopath. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Now that is an amazing story.
Yeah, right. I have so many amazing stories.
Well,
yeah.
You live in probably the craziest part of the United States, I think.
I do. I really do.
Are you in New Orleans or is it?
I'm like 10 minutes outside the city. Yeah, you can from my balcony, you can actually see the tops of the building. It's really cool.
And then on the other side, there's just gators and crawdads.
Yeah, down the bayou, down the bayou. I was actually just doing a TikTok about down the bayou mysteries and stuff like that. So
I bet there are some. We have rednecks and hillbillies around here, but I bet that you have the best, the purest, the fucking straight out the still.
Well, the story I was just doing was about a sheriff's deputy who like went on a rampage for no reason down the bayou. So they say people just go crazy down the bayou, but yeah. So yeah, long story long, yeah.
Right on. Well, we're talking about we're talking about movies that were based on true events today.
Right. And I have a really cool story with this. So like I was blowing you up telling you about this today. So decade ago, so long ago, I was in a bank and I'm sitting, I'm standing in the line with this lady behind me, and across the way is one of those circular buildings, and it's a Kinko's. But before that, it was a mattress store. And this lady, she says to me, oh, I haven't been here for like 10 years since my son and daughter-in-law ran that as a mattress store. Well, anyway, long story long, they were the couple from the movie Open Water. So I was talking to the mother of the son. Yeah. And she was explaining about how they had gone scuba diving. And, of course, the infamous story, they go scuba diving and I guess they, miscounted or something, and they never go back for them. So they're adrift for hours and most likely got eaten by sharks or whatever. So I was like in line with her. And then years later, they actually made a movie about it, which was like so weird because I'm like,
it's been a long time since I saw that movie. Did they die in that movie?
Yeah, it's a horrible movie. It really happened too.
We all fell asleep.
I can't remember. Were they just treading water? Did they have something they were holding on to?
Yeah,
it's literally.
They have their life vest on and they're afloat with life vests.
Okay.
And I think basically about a couple years ago, somebody was scuba diving in that area and they actually found their air tank with a message scrawled in it. So they know they survived for quite a while. But movies based on real stuff fascinate me and also piss me off greatly. So like a great example, The Strangers is apparently based off the Ketty Resort murders. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but I don't understand the parallels of how that movie's even based off the real life crime because I don't either. I think they just tried to do it to sensationalize it. And it pisses me off because the Ketty Resort murders are so fascinating within themselves. Also Conjuring, Annabelle, obvious ones. I don't know. Do you guys believe that?
I think the Warrens are carnies. That's just my opinion.
The Warrens.
Anytime I see somebody like mixing it up, like doing that shit, like, sure, if you're a ghost hunter, that's one thing. But if you're a person who's like had so many fucking encounters with supernatural shit that you have a fucking museum, I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
But you don't think that they bring a little bit of good to people by giving them peace, by like, let's say if these people are terrorized or haunted, and by taking the thing away or blessing their home, they didn't give them some kind of peace. You know,
are they charging money for that service?
I don't know. Did they? Do we know if they charge money?
Well, I think so.
There was just, I just
They're
saw
making
this
money
ironically in Roswell, New Mexico. This when I went cross country, I was in a gym in Roswell, New Mexico, when out of nowhere the Amityville True Story crime documentary came on, and it said that there's some things that have come out. The Warrens, with the family that lived there after the Amityville massacre, kind of were part of writing the Amityville horror book, kind of mixing the seance they actually did do with a lot of bullshit to make the people that had fled the book like rich. I don't know, but there's definitely some weird stuff with the Warren.
That's what I remember. It was definitely related to Amityville. Whatever I had heard. It's been a while since I know it was some fucking YouTube video.
There's
so who knows?
Also that infamous picture that they took of the ghost child. I don't know if you guys seen that, but it's an infamous picture, and they have not been able to discredit that or disprove it. So, I mean, that picture is pretty spooky within itself. It looks just like that kid that got murdered.
But you know, the thing about
funny, Elliot mentions it because that was another movie on my list. So yeah, 100% Amityville Horror, you know. All of them, I think, are pretty good too, by the way. You know?
I think that, you know, it's one of those things where I want to believe in the existence of ghosts. I watch ghost videos all the time. Some of them I think are real. Some of them I'm like, whatever. So I think that if you're in the business of fucking bamboozling people and using supernatural means to do it, you're gonna maybe run across the ghost kid here or there. I don't know. You know, that's just the way it goes. But I think that they really were opportunists who saw a thing they could, because previous to them doing this, they were literally carnies. So like, you know, they were doing the psychic readings and stuff, and that stuff really can be just straight up carnival bullshit. And what's the doctor that was disproving all those psychics? What's his name? James Randi or something like that. What the fuck was it? Have you ever seen that? Back in the day. Back in the day,
disprove the psychics with the spin spoons and stuff like that.
Yeah, he had he had $1 million challenge. If anybody could prove him, he would find out their specific skill set, what they claimed to do, and then he would say, "I will give you $1 million if you can prove it in these circumstances." And he would set, you know, everything down. There was one guy that came really close to doing it using some sort of computer program or whatever, but he missed it.
If you say you can speak to dead people, I've got a whole load of questions I would like to ask certain dead people, answers to which I already have. And the dead people, since they're dead, I don't believe they've got the answers any longer. But if you want to call them up and ask them the questions and come up with the right answer, hey, you could win the $1 million. Many people say they can read minds, they can predict the future, they can interpret dreams and such. Well, it all depends on the specific claim they make. All they have to do is say what they can do, under what circumstances, with what accuracy. And some people have taken literally years. One fella, a PhD in California, took 4.5 years to answer those 3 questions. And finally, when we got ready to enter into tests with him of remote viewing, as he called it, and he actually gave courses in this at the university in California, he suddenly changed his email address and his telephone number. We haven't been able to reach him since. Isn't that strange? I guess he doesn't need the $1 million.
There's even a guy that was, he disproved him. He was a guy that he would make pages move with his hands and shit, who ended up being a pedophile or something, but he disproved him wrong on TV.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy. Well, you know, nothing against carny folk, because some of my people are carny folk. So, you know, my mom is a gypsy fortune teller, so I can't really say too much. Yeah. So, you know, my people are kind of crazy gypsy folk my damn self, so I can't say anything against them. You know what I mean? We might have been right there with the Warrens doing some swindling here and there. I don't know. But yeah, I kind of respect them because I feel like they tread in waters that people don't necessarily want to. You know what I mean? Because like, who wants to mess with paranormal anything? Because it's so misunderstood. So I say good for it. Do your thing, and if they get paid for it, so be it. You know what I mean?
I just would. I'll trust the tattoo kid with a tattoo on his face on YouTube. Because he seems real scared when something happens. So I'm gonna go with that.
I've been begging for years for somebody to take me along. I've never had one paranormal experience my entire life.
What?
You need to come to New Orleans then. You need to come here.
Yeah, I've never seen. So I've been telling people, I'm like, show me. Like I with Frank, I'd love to see something that I can't explain. I watch these videos too on YouTube, and I'm like, that's horseshit.
But some of them, you're like, that seems fucked up.
Right.
I know it.
Right now, we've got this great. Okay, so they had this infamous murder here. So I've got this great for you, my friend, since you want a paranormal experience. They have this guy who, during Katrina, he went crazy and he chopped his girlfriend up and ate her. He baked her in the oven, cooked her in the oven. He ate her. He spray painted all this shit all over the apartment. And this is the creepy part. They were above the Voodoo Ritual Center on Rampart Street. So it burns down mysteriously. But get this. So now you can go rent the place out and go stay the night in the apartment. And the original oven is there and the original refrigerator. I don't know why it wasn't taken into crime scene, but you can go and you can stay and you can have a paranormal experience, I guess. And all these people, they go leave all kind of stuff there. Yeah.
Will they let me make a nice lasagna?
He seasoned her legs. Isn't that gross? I can tell you that. It was
you don't want to eat them without seasoning.
I mean, come on now. He used peas and carrots. Y'all can look it up. Zach and Addie, look it up. The apartment.
I mean, at least he was having a balanced meal.
Right? Exactly. Hey, you
you're gonna mess around. You're gonna mess around and give somebody an idea.
Right? Exactly.
I could murder a bunch of people here and turn it into a tourist attraction.
Turn it into something, right? Exactly. But that's what we do here. But me and Aaron were also talking about like slasher movies, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. And I was also going to say, so apparently Silence of the Lambs is also loosely based on, taken from multiple serial killers. And I don't know why I find that so fascinating and yet creepy. You know what I mean? Like, I always wonder.
I have I did have time to look up some of this Henry shit. I'll tell you what, that dude allegedly killed one person, like really for real, because he got arrested for having a handgun, right? Right. And then he just started admitting to all these murders. And so did Otis. Like Otis got arrested for burning down a house that he evidently didn't even burn down. I'm going to list off the things that they didn't cover in the movie that I found out about. Because there was some crazy shit. The first one is Henry lost an eye at 10. Due to an infection that occurred after a fight with his brother. So they didn't depict that whatsoever. He had both his fucking eyes. They both worked fine. And he was Michael Rooker, who at the time was kind of a handsome looking guy. I think. I mean, I think he is. I'm not a gay dude, but I mean, that's straight truth.
I'm not going to say that when I met him, he flirted with me, but he's handsome. He had a beret.
He flirted with you. We know he flirted with you.
Of course he did.
I was like, hey man.
But Otis and Henry in the movie, it says that they're old prison buddies or whatever. They met at a soup kitchen and allegedly developed a sexual relationship, which was not at all talked about.
I don't want to see that depicted, though.
If you've seen the pictures of them in real life, they do kind of look like the characters in the movie. So just picture that. Or just look it up and imagine it yourself, what that would be like to see. But Otis claimed that many of the alleged murders were performed in the name of a cult he called the Hands of Death, not mentioned in the movie at all. Henry didn't kill Otis at all. They both died in prison. Otis died of cirrhosis. He was arrested following an incident where he set a former lover George Sonnenberg's house on fire. So he wasn't even interested in women whatsoever, seemingly. But according to what I read, Henry was almost like for sure a pedophile because he got arrested for trying to abduct 3 young girls at one point. All the things that he got arrested for makes sense as like a pedophile because he admitted to all these murders, but I don't even know if they could, because he would have had to drive 370 miles a day in this shitty ass little station wagon to accomplish all the things that he said he did within this time frame.
And
But
law enforcement was more than willing to accept all these confessions
Oh, yeah.
all across
That-
the country.
that
Right.
was one of the things that was crazy, was that this is one of the situations where they were basically feeding him all the information he needed for every single. They would hand him the fucking police reports and shit. They would hand him all this stuff, so he would just admit to it. Otis even admitted to killing John Walsh's son, Adam Walsh, and
What?
Henry backed him up. Yeah, and then John Walsh
Yeah.
accepted that shit and said, "At least we know who killed my son." But then the crazy thing I read was that it might have been fucking Dahmer, because he was living right down the
They
way.
actually interviewed
caught-
Dahmer, and he said that he did not do it, and
Yeah.
that his taste ran different. Like, he was very upfront about it, like, and very diplomatic, and like, oh no, I went much different, because apparently
Yeah.
he liked African American guys, and like he
Yeah.
would a little bit older. So
He's
like,
like, "Whoa,
they
whoa,
even
whoa.
asked him,
I'm
hold
not a
on a minute, I
pedophile,
have
buddy."
standards, you
Yeah,
know? Like,
yeah,
hold on, I might have been eating them, but
Yeah.
you know, yeah.
I did take these genitals to work with me, but I don't fuck kids.
So wait, that was the same time that John Walsh, Adam, right? Adam was
Yeah,
the son. It's the
yeah.
same time as the Dahmer killings are happening and
Yeah.
the real
Yeah.
Henry?
And it was right down the way. And they said they saw a vehicle at the mall that looked
That was
like,
similar.
and they
yeah.
also
Mhm.
said they saw a man that resembled Jeffrey Dahmer talking to him. So
What? Wow.
yeah, but
That's
you know,
a movie. That's more of an interesting movie to me.
yeah, but it wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't be weird to me if he did it and then wanted to cover it up, because I've seen that in other cases where they did something awful to kids and they didn't want anybody to know about that shit, but they
Right,
were fine
right.
with the
Yeah.
women they killed or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and Becky, Otis's niece in the movie that Henry has like a relationship with, she was 14 in real life.
Yeah.
And
And it was really his niece, though, right?
it
really
was
his
Otis's niece, but she had,
Right.
they said intellectual disability. So
Right.
take that as you will. But yeah, there's a lot of movies based on him. There's of course Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. There's
I think that the whole thing with Henry, Portrait of the Serial Killer, was that when it first came out, I know for me, it was just shocking. I had never seen
Oh, yeah.
anything like that. Was my first decapitation scene, like the part with him with the head. I was just like
Mhm.
floored. I had, and you know, I was way too young to be watching it, but that's always the fun of horror movies, right? So I
Yeah.
mean, you know, it's like forbidden, and I'm like, oh my god, you know. And
it's
I kept
still
telling myself,
shocking.
it was
I mean-
totally shocking, that, and you know, you have the really graphic rape scene, the home invasion scene. I know we've
Yeah.
talked about that before, but that was just almost like it's not even a real movie scene. Like, it seems so authentic, and it's so gritty and gross. And I thought the depiction of the bodies were very cleverly done at the beginning,
Yeah.
because they're taken from real crime scenes. Like, you can literally Google the photos that's based off of, and that's kind of sick and twisted, but also gives it that real element that I find genuinely scary. So yeah, it
See,
works. It works for me.
I saw that movie when I was definitely an adult. I didn't see it when I was younger.
I was like
And
11.
it was still jarring as an adult to see him fumbling around with those body parts at the end.
The noise that,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and when he lifts it up, yeah,
I
I
think
like
that
almost fainted
it
dead
wa-
away. Yeah.
I think it was softened a little bit by me seeing Michael Rooker in Mallrats before I saw him in anything else. So I was like, yeah, this is like the pretzel guy.
Definitely.
Yeah, pretzel guy got the stink hand.
But
Yeah.
they shot that in like 87, didn't they? And it took
Yeah.
3 years of like taking it around to the little
Yeah.
rinky-dink theaters and
Yeah.
getting the X rating before anybody actually cared about it, right?
Right,
Oh, yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Highly
what a,
Fans kept
controversial
it
for the
alive.
time. Yeah, such
That
a
is-
gross movie.
it's a
Yeah.
10 out of 10 though. I mean, as far
Oh
as I'm
yeah,
concerned.
yeah.
And it's one that, like, if somebody hasn't seen it, I'm always like, you I mean, I normally don't like to say you gotta see something, but you gotta see that. It's just
It's
at that
jarring.
time, 86, is that when it was? That
Yeah.
when it
Like
came out?
86 or
I
87
remember
when
88
Yeah.
in Premiere
But-
Magazine.
Yeah, I mean, that shit is, for that time period, what else was there that was that graphic? I can't
Yeah.
think of anything. I mean, maybe some wild ass cannibal movie or some shit like that, but
Well,
Yeah.
what's funny is this movie comes out in 87. Everybody sees it around 88, 90, around there, right? And it gets an
Mhm.
X rating. Then 2 years or a year later, we get Silence of the Lambs, who clears house at the Oscars. You know, and here
Yeah.
we're talking about a movie actually based on Dr. Alfredo Bali Trevino, I believe, is the actual inspiration for Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
The guy that Thomas Harris did an interview with when he was working for Rolling Stone magazine down in Mexico, and he was just like enthralled with this guy, and started creating a character of Hannibal Lecter. But it's so funny because like, just a year, 2 years before, they're looking at Henry like it's dirt, and Silence hits it, it's art, high art,
Now,
But
do you
it's
think
great.
Silence of the Lambs would have done as well if it was as graphic as Henry? I mean, it would have been.
I think so, because it's so beautifully, seamlessly done. You know what I mean? It's engaging and absorbing, I
Yeah.
also think it's almost got pro-feministic elements too. As a girl, it was the first time I saw like a girl like kick ass and like, like she was tough, and I like that. You know what I mean?
I've always thought this the scene where she's explaining in the car ride to the higher up FBI agent,
Yeah,
how-
exactly.
why it was important for him to
Right.
not treat her like that in front of other people.
It's important, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That
We'll see
was
how you
great.
act, sir.
That was great. She nailed it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's a
I do it great.
masterpiece.
I could like go into Clarice and do the whole, character, like, but yeah, I
Yeah.
probably know every line. Yeah.
But I love that movie. I think it's I think even if it got darker, sure, in that time period it probably would have got a harder rating because it was already controversial when it came out, I mean,
Yeah.
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 I wasn't
There was-
allowed to
yeah.
watch that one. My parents didn't let me watch it for like I had to
Yeah.
wait until I was like 15 or 16 to
Oh,
watch
I
that
see.
shit.
And my
Yeah.
mom was so cool. My mom's like this cool hippie chick, and she's like, "I'm gonna smoke a joint. We'll watch it together, man." And we did.
See, it made no sense what they didn't let me watch because they didn't
Yeah.
let me watch Leprechaun and Silence of the Lambs. But then my dad took me to the video store. I'd rent fucking Toxic Avenger and shit, which has like
Toxic Avengers,
crazy
great.
stuff in it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, and
First
he
time
would
I saw
just
that was on
cover my
USA
eyes up.
Network.
that's how my dad would deal with it. He would cover
But-
my eyes up and just fucking hold on.
I remember
then we're done.
watching
Yeah.
Taxi Driver with my dad. My dad rented, I'm not even kidding, Taxi Driver. And I remember sitting there watching it with him, and I was like 10. I was like,
Oh,
this is
wow.
some dark shit right here. Yeah, I remember thinking that was like the
Hardcore movie.
darkest movie ever, and I loved it. I remember seeing De Niro just spiral out, and I was like, this is great. And also, I was like, oh, De Niro was hot back in the day. Look at that, But yeah, great. Yeah, like little 10-year-old me was like, what the hell? What kind of world are we living in? But yeah, I remember being like scandalized by Jodie Foster in that movie too, because she's super young. Like, isn't she like 14 when she filmed it?
Yeah,
She was,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was like 10 when I saw it, and I remember being like scandalized by her, like, depiction of like, I guess, teen, prostitute or whatever. But yeah.
Prostitute.
You know what's
Yeah.
weird? You remember what year was it? Whenever was it Hinckley that would tried to kill Reagan for
Yeah,
Jodie
yeah.
Foster?
Like,
Yeah.
What year was
80
that?
81. I just read a whole. I've been researching a bunch of scripts. Yeah, I just read a whole book. They were all connected. That's what's really disturbing. Like this
Oh, yeah.
latest book talks about John Hinckley was trying to impress Jodie Foster. Mark David Chapman actually talked to John Hinckley Jr. before he killed Lennon, or vice versa.
Wow.
Like really
Creepy.
disturbing
I just-
stuff. Like
I was just wondering like what movie he saw her in or what was under her belt as a superstar that made him be like, she's gonna love me if I killed it. Like, what was the reason?
Yeah.
It's
Like
it's
this-
Taxi Driver,
Friday,
right?
Was it Taxi Driver? Where
I
she
think
was a
it
little girl?
was.
She was like a
It's the
Disney
plot of the
girl
movie,
before
right?
Taxi Driver.
Wasn't it Contact?
Oh,
No,
it
I'm just
could be,
kidding.
I guess. You know what? That makes sense. If he
It's the
saw
plot of the
Taxi
movie.
Driver,
Yeah, De Niro has this weird. He's gonna kill the politician,
yeah.
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 but then all of a sudden he has this shift where he's like, "No, fuck this! I'm gonna go kill these pimps down the street because I don't like them."
It's fucking awesome. Yeah,
And then,
it's cool.
and then the great part is the end because he's the hero.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Everyone thinks he's this great hero, and nobody knows he was about to assassinate
Yeah.
this dude.
Right.
I wonder how
think
many.
that had a lot to do with Hinckley.
I bet a lot of people saw that movie and took that the wrong way because
Yeah.
I watched it when I was a teenager, and if I had the wrong mindset, that would have been. I would have been like,
did.
I am him. I am him.
Yeah.
Fuck
I was
me,
really
fuck me.
twisted when I saw Taxi. I was in a dark place when I saw that movie, and I was like, "Wait a minute, this ending."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." The last shot of him looking in the mirror, you're like, "He's a psychopath." Like
He's
he
still
did the right
nuts.
thing
Yeah.
in that instant, but he could still do the wrong thing after he drops off. What's her name?
Yeah.
When
But
turns her down for the
There
date.
is that when he shaves his fucking hair into the mohawk, and he's got the.
Yeah, it's so
Is it a
cool.
gun that he has that comes
Yeah.
out of his coat?
Yeah, it's
I
done.
love that thing.
I
That's
like
so
when
Danny
he's
awesome.
burning
McBride
his
loves
hand.
Taxi Driver. He
Yeah.
does an homage to it in almost every
Yeah.
one of his comedy projects.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he loves Scorsese. His comedy, he says, all comes from all Scorsese movies.
And what about the scene with Scorsese himself when he sits there and he's going to kill his wife? That's so brilliant. Every time I see that, you know who's up there right now? My wife's up there. I love that scene. It's so well done. Yeah, it's a great movie. Great movie. I never found Jodie Foster that hot though. People are going to hate me for saying that, but like I never understood like who was so seduced by her that like, oh my god, I got to go kill so like for Jodie Foster. What?
I got to tell you. My dad did. My dad always.
Oh wow!
My dad was super mad when he found out that she was a lesbian. He's like, "Oh," and I was like, "Hey, you've been married for like 30 years, anyways." And I don't.
That's
think
like being mad that Ellen was a lesbian, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's like doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Can you imagine how mad Hinckley is?
I know, right? Go figure.
Well, he just got out of jail not too long ago. He's doing music now, so
he's got some music out there.
I believe if anyone is a drummer or bass player, he's looking for someone to play with him. So check it out. But
God, could you imagine being in his band, guys? Wouldn't that be amazing? Like, all right, John, don't get mad. Here we go.
There's already a band called The Killers.
Nice.
I had something I wanted to bring up because I saw it this morning and it fucking fucked me up a little bit. Now, I don't know Ari Aster. Is that how you say his name? What has he done?
Hereditary.
Is that what he's known for?
Hereditary, Midsummer.
Okay,
you got to go all the way back to The Strange Thing About the Johnsons.
That's what I was going to talk about. That's what I saw this morning. It's like a half an hour long.
It's messed up.
And if you haven't seen that, I don't know if you should watch it, but I'm saying that it's really fucked up. It's like
what is it? I'm lost. What?
Yeah, what is
it?
If
I tell you what it is.
Help me and Randall out. We're lost.
Is this his first film or something?
It's his student film thesis or whatever. Okay. I'm gonna see. I'll see what the description says because I don't want to.
I don't need to watch it right now. I got enough.
Don't give it away, man. It's a slap in the face.
It's really short.
I just watched Hereditary again. It's a masterpiece, but it's so hardcore.
I had no interest in seeing it. That's why I don't know.
Oh, it's incredible.
It's really well done. Yeah.
This thing.
Why not, Aaron? You don't like it?
It's not my.
What do you have against Tony Collette? What's wrong with you?
Nothing.
He's
Lisa,
incredible.
Lisa, I want you to take a look back on our history on this podcast together. What do I like?
You like splatter, gore, zombies, monsters, creatures,
dumpster fires.
And is there anything in Hereditary that's not slow burn bullshit? Because I don't want that.
No, it actually had. I think you might like it because
I think you might too.
Okay, now if the
got a bit of both. There's a lot of Sam Raimi.
The shock of seeing a girl smash her face on a pole is the thing I'm like, I already know that happens and I've already seen
the rest of it.
So is it like knowing that nothing happens in Blair Witch, like when you go to watch it? Like I don't know.
No, it's brilliantly
executed.
It's one of those things where I know just based on the prestige that it carries with it that I don't like it. Like it's like if it's not straight to video, it's not my wheelhouse, really. I mean, I don't give a fuck about big production, artisanal movies. I want Microwave Massacre. I want Microwave Massacre. I want street trash. I want garbage. So
it's got the garbage aspect, though. I'm telling.
It looks too shiny and smooth, Elliot.
You're right, Frank. You're not gonna like it. Don't watch it. Okay.
Would it be would it be in contention for maybe winning an award?
I'm telling you, it's got. For me, I loved it because it has the last half hour is bonkers shit, Sam Raimi crazy, and then the rest of it is a mixture between Lars von Trier and like William Friedkin, The Exorcist. So it's not boring.
See, I don't know what Lars von Trier has done, but I don't like The Exorcist. So like my opinion on the podcast is total shit. Like I don't even know why I do it because it doesn't matter. No one likes my opinion. It's not a good one, but it's mine. So I feel it's an added value to the podcast to have a shitty opinion that might represent like a third of people that listen to us or whatever.
Yeah, there's that 1 out of 10 people that listen to us that are like, that's my boy.
You've never seen Antichrist? Who's seen Antichrist?
I've tried to watch Antichrist.
Oh my god!
It but like Possession from '81.
For me, I want to have fun. So if there's no fun, I don't want to watch it. Now I'm living in a constant state of depression. So like, what do I want to pop on? Like Antichrist? No, I turned it right
takes
off.
me out of my life. It makes
like
me forget. Like I'm like, great. At least I don't have foxes talking to me while my girlfriend's trying to kill me.
Like,
yeah, it's like
there's a checklist. You can know if I like a movie or not. Are there dumbass clowns in it? Is there an idiot that makes annoying jokes the whole time and then gets killed in a fantastic splattery way? I mean,
that he's about it.
I get what you're saying, but like it's like this, Frank. Like I'm unlucky in love, but I don't shun all romantic comedies. You know?
I don't like those either, Randy. I am 40. I have like 20 years left. Why would I waste my time? You know, I watch shows. I watch movies I don't like for this podcast all the fucking time.
Me too, brother.
I just, I stick to what I like. I watch Perfect Strangers. I fucking watch Night Court, and then I call it a day. So
wonderful shows.
Off subject, sorry. Stitches. Stitches the Clown? This is a horror movie, right? Did you guys? Is this a good movie? I keep seeing it on
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's
I haven't
Ross
seen that one either.
Noble, the English comedian Ross Noble. He was on one of the Celebrity Big Brothers, is what I remember him. But it is what it is. It's Irish comedy, so it's a little different than ours. It's a little like in your face, like really gross, but it's funny. He does great in the title role of Stitches, the clown.
I might like that. I mean, I like.
That's right. I thought Aaron, you know that.
What's that other? I like that other shitty clown. What is it? What is it? It's Full Moon. There's like 3 or 4 of them.
Shakes the Clown.
Killjoy.
Shakes the Clown. That's a great movie.
Killjoy. The Killjoy movies. All of them. I like all of them.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
Killjoy Goes to Hell. Killjoy, whatever the fuck. So send Killjoy somewhere. I'm there. But I'm like I hate that I have the opinions I do. But if I'm not honest, what the fuck good's the podcast? We're not going to have a back and forth. If we all just sat around sucking each other's dicks, what the hell fun would it be?
I'd just be lost.
Wait a minute. Nobody said anything about that.
It's just like, we do like there's a lot of crossover there. I don't totally shun everything that's like top notch. I mean, what's that movie I just watched last year or whatever? God damn it, I can't think of nothing. It's about it's got that Jesse whatever his name is in it. Eisenberg. Vivarium.
Wait,
Is that it?
Yeah. Was it good?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
That's a shiny ass fuck. That should win an award for my opinion. It's it's like a science fiction type of thing.
And I just wasted my time watching the one with those 2 stupid girls that climbed the tower. That was so dumb. Oh my god, that was so dumb. It was so dumb. Yeah, it should just be called Stupid White Girls that do stupid white girl things because it's so dumb. They're like, let's
it's a cell phone tower. The cell phone tower.
And all these kids were like, it's so scary, and I'm like, it is not scary at all. It was so dumb. And usually I like movies where like they're in weird, impossible scenarios, like we're in a cage and we're gonna go shark diving and the thing breaks and we're at the bottom of the ocean. Like I like things like that, but this one was it was effing stupid and it pissed me off. So by the end of it, I just wanted both of them to die and I was ready to throw them off myself. So yeah. And see, that's the thing. Like, I don't like horror movies like that, but I will watch them. You know what I mean? So I get what you're saying. They're not my favorite, but I will indulge every once in a while.
I don't like total trash because we watched some movies on this fucking podcast that were below my barometer, like Titanic 666, terrible.
I remember I didn't know you at that. I saw your post before I knew who you were. And I was
what about Scarecrows?
Scarecrows was all right. I mean,
it was awesome. I loved Scarecrows. I thought Scarecrows was awesome.
It could have been awesome, really, really awesome if they would have slapsticked it up and put a lot more blood all over the place.
We need to make a remake.
But everybody's got different tastes. Does anybody else have anything else they want to discuss?
I just want to say, Frank, though, when the thing I like though about your opinions are they're so different than mine that when we do agree on something, it's almost orgasmic.
It happens a lot more than I think that. I mean, if you look at like the approved movies that we've watched, like Evil Speak, that is right in my fucking wheelhouse.
That's a great ass movie.
And I'm surprised you like that. I mean,
I loved it
because it's like such that level of perfect schlocky cheese for me that like, you know, and Ticks. That's perfect. And, you know, and that's why I think that if you haven't seen Mosquito, you should check that out because that's
I'm gonna check it out.
Goes right there with it, man.
I had Ticks on 4K. Sorry.
Wait, I watched the one with the killer rats from the 80s. It was so horrible. It's like the rats they kill, but like, why couldn't I turn away from it? I loved it. It was so bad. It was so bad. The funny thing is how they use real rats in it. So like they just like blew them up. So you'd have these scenes with the real actor rats, I guess, you know. But anyway, yeah, it's so horrible.
I love movies like that. I love the old.
Me too. They're fun to get lost in. Yeah.
Remember Them, the giant.
Oh
Them is the best.
Yeah.
I love
that is great. Yeah.
Them is incredible.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
What's your favorite?
Night of the Lepus with the guy from
Night of the Lupus. Yeah.
Night of the Lepus.
Night of the Lupus.
Yeah, giant bunnies.
I want that. I don't want the pretentious like William remake with Crispin Glover. I want like the dirty, silly, sick. Like I said, I do love that schlocky side to it. Like I don't want it to be all seriously redone.
Oh, Crispin Glover is such a fucking weirdo. That
I met him. He's amazing.
Have you seen the movies? He did a couple movies where he cast it exclusively with Down syndrome people.
That's what I saw. I went to Pittsburgh to see them in person.
Oh, they're so bizarre. They're so
incredible.
bizarre.
They're insane.
I can't remember what they're called, but if you look up Crispin Glover,
The Big Question, what is it? Is one of them.
Oh yeah.
Big Question, what is, and then the other one's called like Everything. I saw them both.
They're like noir, right? It's like
they're bizarre, but they're amazing. They're just
imagine like a gangster movie where it's just all Down syndrome people. Like that's what I saw. I mean,
it's a mixture of like that and David Lynch, even more further out than David Lynch meets a horror movie. They're amazing movies.
And he has Crispin Glover has music also, which is
I have that out.
It's bizarre,
I have that out, Mr. Clowny Clown.
Yeah, he is a nut. He is a nut. Love him.
Yeah,
but you know, anyways, I think that's a show, guys. Make sure you go and get the book that we wrote, right, Ray?
Right. The Midnight Nexus Volume 2 is available now. It dropped early, so it's all short stories, but they're done in a it's more horror geared for the Halloween season, so that's why we dropped it. Cool. It's Frank contributed 2 stories. I have 5.
Wow.
Another author has 5, and another author has 1. So. It's clocking in hardbacks 196 pages, paperbacks 236, I think, and it's on Kindle. So
for like $3 or whatever.
Yeah, $3.
And it's all porn that you guys came up with now. Is that what I'm getting?
I just drew a big picture. I drew a big picture of a dick on the page.
There you go. Hey, if it sells, right?
My first story in it is called Games Lovers Play.
It is erotic.
What happens? It's an erotic horror. So.
I like that. That's one of my favorites. Oh my goodness, I would like it. Yeah,
it's basically a big setup for a joke at the end, which I think's funny. So, but
I love that. Yeah, that's great.
Yep. Well,
they're all for sale on Amazon.com.
Yeah,
Wait,
the Midnight Nexus.
Lisa, are you drinking blood? Did you just come out as a vampire? I saw you sip from like a goblet of blood. And then we talk about clowns. What the heck? It looked like blood. I'm like, this is it. She's a vampire in New Orleans.
But
maybe next time.
Make sure you follow Lisa on TikTok.
Yeah,
she's blowing it up over there.
Oh,
she's blowing it
trying.
Up. And Lisa, what's your last name again?
Lumine. Yeah, I just got in trouble for community guidelines for Lawnmower Man. Oops.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Did you appeal it? Because if you appeal it,
I did. I think it's because I used the word porn. So I guess you can't. Yeah. So I'm learning these things. Yeah. So they got.
It does it.
I was oops.
They get really weird about some of it. It's I still can't figure it all out.
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
But make sure you subscribe to Jay's channel, Jay versus Horror, on YouTube.
Nice meeting you, Jay.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. Had fun. I'll see you.
Too.
See you later, guys.
This year has been the worst fucking year. beer. Then I got a job at Starbucks. Motherfucker, that shit really sucks. You don't want to get a job at Starbucks, making coffee for all the cunts of the world. This year has been the worst fucking year. I hope it's almost over, I feel. It feels like I'm nowhere. Tin cans in my underwear, because this year has been the worst fucking year. I lost all of my friends, my dear, and there's nothing to save me. So I guess